In terms of preventing tick bites, did you look at anything related to the use of permethrin on shoes, clothing, etc.?
So in the survey, I didn't. When we are out dragging for ticks, we use permethrin. I swear by it. But in terms of scientific studies, we haven't done any of this.
We've got a lot of chipmunks and squirrels running around the house. What should we do?
Get a cat? So, I mean, I'm not sure how to control chipmunk and squirrel populations. They're kind of everywhere. It's really hard to keep them out of your yard. Some people spray for ticks, not for chipmunks and squirrels, but some people will spray for ticks, because if the ticks aren't infected, then it's okay if they're there. But I don't, the scientific studies behind lawn spraying, I'm not sure of. Do chipmunks and squirrels? Yes, chipmunks and squirrels carry ticks.
A lot of your numbers from that you guys have shown from some of your research come from your own dragging of the.
Yes.
You know, how effective is that actually picking up? I mean, how many of the ticks are you picking up?
So that's a very good question. That's actually very interesting. They have done, not us, other scientists have done controlled studies on the dragging method. So it is the most effective way to pick up ticks, but they've put a known number of ticks in an area and then they've dragged. So we're only collecting the ticks that are hungry. We're only collecting the ticks that grab onto our drag. So we're actually only getting 6% of what's actually there. Yeah.
I had Lyme disease and was diagnosed immunologically. And then about 9 months later, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. I'd like to see you get in touch with Roswell Park and look at the possible increase in cancer diagnoses in my post-Lyme patients and possibly the other way around.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to look at.
Just to add to that, Dr. Paul Duray, who was with NIH, he actually showed a correlation between lymphoma and Lyme disease, the spiky. Okay. But I just wanted to add to you, when you're doing a statistical analysis of areas that reported high and then they went down because they've had it for a while, a lot of that has been, and there's research on this, at least in Dutchess County, has been because of doctor fatigue, so they just kind of stopped reporting it, whereas in the new areas, the doctors are very up on it and start reporting it. So, you know, it may have gone down for different reasons than you think. And
right.
In New York State, we also have a problem because in the most endemic counties, in order to save the cost to the local departments of health and the manpower, the state has allowed them to do a statistical summary. So instead of checking surveillance of 100% of the cases that are lab-reported cases, they only check 20%. When they report that to the New York State Department of Health, the New York State Department of Health uplifts that to 100% statistically. So the New York State numbers have that, but the CDC and the TSE does not accept those numbers. So New York State numbers are actually shown to be about 50% less by the CDC than they actually are.
Right.
I'm happy to hear that the SUNY system is getting more involved in the research. Do they plan on offering any PCR DNA testing to the public, like UMass Amherst does?
So right now, at this point, I don't believe so. It might be something that we explore if we can get this Lyme Research Center off the ground. But right now, with the small lab we have, we can't offer that.
Sorry. When you were saying report based on CDC guidelines, as a healthcare provider, I find it very frustrating when I have a patient that presents with just different symptoms. We do a biopsy, it shows periodontal invasion. So I run, lab work, all IgM is negative, 4 positive IgM bands or IgG bands, and so they're not positive. but clinically they present with symptoms, so then they're not, quote, reported. You know, I'm not reporting,
Right.
and then I'm trying to figure out guidelines. I'm hoping this will be addressed later on how to treat. So I will treat based on clinical picture,
Mhm.
presenting symptoms, but it's not being reported.
Right, right, you don't have a positive.
Yeah, so I feel like it's very underreported.
Yeah, absolutely. That's hopefully the Lyme Center, we have a pharmacist on the team that his goal is to work on better diagnostic tools, because that's where a lot of the problem lies. One more? Okay, this is gonna be the last question. I am here all day, so if you wanna find me, I can talk to anybody, as are all the speakers.
So, hi Mandy. So just a question about the wood chips. You mentioned wood chips. I guess two little questions. Why is it they wouldn't cross a wood chip perimeter? And then also, are there certain types of wood chips, like cedar or something like that, that are better to put around perimeters? Or?
From people that have tried to do yard control, I have heard that cedar is supposed to be better. Again, the science behind that, I'm not sure what is better. But ticks, deer ticks especially, they're just very lazy. A deer tick, unless it's moved on a host, so unless it jumps on a mouse or a deer or something, it's not gonna move more than 1 square meter in its whole life, unless something else moves it. So they don't move. So they're not gonna cross the wood chip barrier as well, because generally the top of that is very dry, and generally it's kind of in the sun. So it's too dry for them. They like kind of being on the grasses, and they want something they can crawl up on, because all of the hosts that they try to grab onto, they want to grab onto the fur. So as they're walking, they need to be up a little higher so they can grab onto fur. So, okay. Okay, so now we just have a short break. We're going to reconvene at 10:15 for another talk.